Hello everyone, I'm Caitlin Clark, and I've decided not to return to the WNBA until the league addresses these unfair issues head-on.
Hustling away.
I mean, is that displacement? I think it is.
Oh, and Marina Mabry's going to get ejected.
Is Caitlin Clark truly on the verge of walking away after just one season? Could the same league that embraced her as the future of women's basketball actually become the reason she leaves? These aren't just hypothetical questions anymore. They reflect a growing concern among fans and insiders as Clark's rookie year continues to be overshadowed by controversy, mismanagement, and hostility both on and off the court. From the moment she entered the WNBA, Clark was positioned as a game-changer. Her college career shattered records, drew massive viewership, and brought a new level of excitement to the sport. The league capitalized on her popularity, featuring her prominently in marketing campaigns, broadcasts, and promotional material. But what's unfolded since her debut has been far from the dream scenario most imagined. Instead of being celebrated and nurtured, Clark has faced relentless physicality, inconsistent officiating, questionable coaching decisions, and a noticeable lack of institutional support. In Indiana, Clark has been placed in an offensive system that doesn't align with her strengths. The Fever's reliance on a rigid motion offense has often taken the ball out of her hands, minimizing the very playmaking and vision that made her a superstar at Iowa. The frustrations are mounting, and so is the scrutiny. Rather than building a team and strategy around their franchise player, the Fever seem intent on fitting Clark into a system that clearly isn't working. Outside of Indiana, Clark's presence has stirred tension across the league. She's drawn criticism from some players, been the target of overly aggressive defense, and become the subject of polarizing media narratives. What was supposed to be a historic rookie campaign now feels like a battleground, with Clark caught in the middle of a culture clash that the league seems unprepared to navigate. All of this raises the very real question of whether Clark might decide it's not worth it. She has options: international play, media opportunities, and massive endorsement deals that don't depend on her staying in the WNBA. If the league can't protect, support, and elevate its biggest draw, what incentive does she have to stay? The WNBA positioned her as its future, but if the current environment continues to stunt her growth and undermine her value, she could choose to walk away, not out of entitlement, but out of necessity. The idea of Clark leaving after one season may sound extreme, but the circumstances are becoming harder to ignore. The pressure is on the Fever and the WNBA to respond, to make changes, and to create a culture that actually welcomes the star it so proudly claimed. If they don't, the loss won't just be Caitlin Clark. It'll be a missed opportunity to grow the league in a way that may not come around again for a long time.
10 second chance points now for New York. Clark, a little bit too strong, but Boston.
Caitlin Clark storms the court like lightning in a bottle, draining threes and commanding attention with every move. In just 2 seasons, she's turned once quiet arenas into roaring coliseums, injecting life and energy into the league like few ever have. But instead of being met with celebration, she's faced with hard fouls, cold whistles, and a league that seems more focused on control than growth. The WNBA courted her stardom, embraced the spotlight she brought, but now seems overwhelmed by it, unsure how to support the very force it built its recent success around. Rather than encouraging her rise, the response has been uneven and, at times, hostile. Referees miss obvious calls, tensions flare on the court, and what should be a showcase of elite talent often descends into frustration and controversy. Fans find themselves flipping between awe and anger, dissecting every bump, every non-call, every viral moment as if each game were part of a chaotic performance rather than a professional league. The intensity Clark brings has become both her biggest weapon and the league's biggest challenge. Now the rumors are swirling. Whispers suggest Clark's patience is wearing thin, that behind the scenes she's weighing her future, considering whether this league is truly the right place for her to thrive. After giving everything she has to elevate the game, she may be wondering if it's time to take her talents elsewhere, somewhere that not only values her presence but knows how to nurture it. The WNBA may have found its star, but the real question now is whether it's ready to keep her. Caitlin Clark's second season played out
Off-court
like a
saved that
decade-long
Hello
highlight
everyone,
reel.
I'm Caitlin Clark,
One
and I've
night
decided
she
not
drops
to
25 points. The next she's dishing out a dozen assists, but somehow she's still being cast as the villain in her own breakout story. Every deep three she launches feels like a plea for respect, and every hard foul she takes sounds like another sour note in an off-key anthem. Instead of celebrating her brilliance, the league zeroed in on PR spins, dress code optics, and surface-level promos while real basketball brilliance was being shoved to the hardwood, literally. Through it all, Caitlin just kept playing. She let her game do the talking, hitting threes, dodging elbows, and brushing off controversy like dust. But as the season progressed, a movement took root. Protect Caitlin became a rallying cry. Fans on social media turned into slow-motion analysts, frame-by-frame breakdowns of every shove and hit circulating online. The call was loud and clear. The treatment she was getting was unfair, even dangerous. And yet, the league stayed quiet, more concerned with how things looked than how things actually were. No strong statements, no clear rule changes, just the usual polished messaging full of empty assurances. Then came Sophie Cunningham's blatant shove on Clark, a hit that felt more like an MMA audition than a basketball play. Fans erupted, demanding accountability. Marina Mabrey followed up with her own cheap fouls, and again, silence from officials and league leadership. These weren't plays made in the heat of competition. They were tests, attempts to rattle a young star. But Caitlin got up every time, her composure only intensifying the growing sentiment that something was deeply wrong with how she was being treated. Clark isn't just another rookie. She's the league's lightning rod. Every time she hits the court, new eyes tune in. Cities that never sold out before now see jersey sales spike. Tuesday night games become headline events because she's in them. The WNBA built its entire revival campaign around her energy, yet failed to protect the very engine powering it. Somehow, the league's brightest light ended up being its most vulnerable target. Critics say Clark needs to toughen up to earn her stripes, but when she shoots 40% from deep and still gets called entitled, it's obvious something doesn't add up. Veterans are given room to be human. Miss shots, lose tempers, but Clark's every move is dissected and politicized. The double standard is glaring. Fans noticed, and it fueled a rebellion. Supporters began begging her to stay safe, not just from opponents, but from the system itself. Rumors started swirling that she might be ready to walk. Europe looms, a place that could offer safety, celebration, and serious pay. Overseas, she'd be treated as the hero, not the target. Instead of hard fouls, she'd be greeted with flowers. Contracts would come with respect baked in, not just money. If she did leave, it wouldn't be selfish, it would be survival. Meanwhile, the WNBA continues to roll out glossy marketing campaigns, smiling practice shots, and feel-good content while dodging the actual issue, respect. It's easy to put Caitlin on a poster, but harder to own up to another missed call that alters a game. Fans see through it. They're tired of watching a generational talent navigate a league that seems more invested in branding than fairness. What happens if she walks? Ticket sales plummet. Viewership drops. Casual fans lose interest. The league could go from being on the brink of a golden era to watching it vanish in an instant. That's not a stretch, it's a warning. Clark's absence would be more than a PR crisis. It'd be a gut punch to a league that bet everything on her and then failed to follow through. Caitlin's story isn't over, but it's clear she won't stay where she's not respected. She deserves arenas full of admiration, not aggression. If that means building something new or taking her talents abroad, so be it. Stars don't wait forever for appreciation. They go where they're allowed to shine. While Caitlin Clark delivers on the court, league leadership continues to underdeliver off of it. They prioritize image over impact, wardrobe memos over replay reviews. Fans are watching, shaking their heads as the WNBA fumbles the moment. When they finally acknowledge a blown call, it sounds more like a legal disclaimer than genuine concern. That disconnect is killing trust. Behind the scenes, whispers of potential exits and sponsor pressure simmer. Brands love her marketability, but few dare to defend her publicly. Instead, we get sanitized campaigns with no mention of the real battles she's fighting. Advertisements praise her talent but avoid the truth. Fans aren't buying